But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
You did. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back, boys and girls. It is Tuesday, October 17th. This is episode 92 of the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. That is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto. Everett, it's club season. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
It is club season.
Welcome to club season. And this year, more than any other year, there is absolutely no break in between national team season and club season. There are none. Last weekend there was men's Olympic qualifiers going on Volleyball World TV at the same time as week 1 of the women's Lega Volley Femminile season. So we're jumping right into it. Today should be a pretty quick show, I think, and then a lot of the men's domestic leagues start this weekend, including both the Superliga and the Plusliga. So it is ridiculous. This is the fastest turnaround, maybe even by volleyball standards, that I've ever seen. But we're going to get into it. This is club season, and we're back kind of to our normal weekly rhythm of club season 9x9 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, this is real quick. Real quick. Yeah, it's really tough for some of these players. I really feel for them. There was 1 week off, a week and a half off between the end of the women's Olympic qualifier and the start of some of these seasons. You said we're already 2 weeks in the Lega Volley Femminile. Trophies already given away in Turkey. Yeah, it's a little crazy.
It's pretty outrageous, but we're going to jump into it. We're going to talk about the couple things that have happened so far. And first and foremost, congratulations to Vakifbank. Congratulations to Vakifbank Istanbul for winning the Turkish Super Cup. They have beaten Fenerbahce 3-2. This is actually a really good match. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm American, but I still don't really understand the concept or the point of Super Cups. But whatever. It's the
season going.
It gets the season going. It's a chance to play a match on national TV and, get everybody excited about it and hand out some hardware. And so Vakifbank beats Fenerbahce in 5, really tight match. Jordan Thompson was named the MVP in her Vakifbank debut. Obviously, Fenerbahce is a little bit undermanned. They don't have Ana Cristina back from injury yet. She's there, but she's not playing. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Melissa Vargas is spending the first half of the season over in China, as she has the first couple years. So we got to see Magdalena Stysiak, who dropped 31 points. Good for her. But a little bit of a one-man show for Fenerbahce. Arina Fedorov was back as well. She had 18 points, 15 for 48 attacking. Not great efficiency. So good to see her back at least.
Rob, I didn't watch this match. I tried to watch a little bit. There's somebody uploaded it to YouTube. Thank you if you're doing that, by the way.
Yeah, that was nice.
Give us a chance to watch it. I just looking at these stats, I don't know how Vakifbank came out with a win.
I don't really know either.
When you look at the numbers, right? Gabi led things for Vakifbank with only 21 points. The next highest scorer for them was 11. Was by Ali Franti. How many errors did Fenerbahce make in this one?
I don't know if you scrolled down far enough. Jordan Thompson had 29, 23 for 44, 52% kills and pretty high efficiency, plus 5 blocks. So she was excellent and a well-deserved MVP. That's been Vakifbank's thing the past couple of years. It started with Isabel Hawk, then last year it was Paula Egonu, and now it's Jordan Thompson. They're gonna have a big opposite, it used to be one of those top 4 best players in the world opposite. Now it's Jordan Thompson, who's just barely outside that group. They need that player to play across from Gabi to be a primary scorer. And so far, so good for Jordan Thompson on the season. So this has been the other thing with Vakifbank the last couple of years is you can play the opposite battle of whoever Vakif's opposite is against whoever else, like Adzadjabasha, for example. But then who's going to be the Gabi counter? Who's going to be that second scorer? Who's going to be the player on the outside to support?
And there's no one really in the world who's like Gabi.
Not
right?
certainly not not like her play style, and you would think that the closest thing is Arina Fedorubtseva, but she wasn't quite as good coming out to start the season. This one,
Yeah. So this is going to be an interesting battle to watch all year long, Rob. Like this might be the battle that we see at the Champions League finals at the end of the year. This might be the battle. I'm assuming that this is going to be the battle that we're going to see at the. Actually, no, because Azerbaijan is still very good. Those three top teams right now this year in Turkey, Rob, are going to be so much fun to watch. I think it's hard to deny that the top end of the Süttenlar Ligi might be better than like a Volley Femminile in this season.
yeah, it
We'll
might.
see.
It very legitimately might. It's something we'll talk about throughout this season. And yeah, Berkay in the chat is correct. Like I was just looking this morning before the show that the second round of Sultan Ligi games is starting today. And Vakifbank beat some bad team. Yeah, Besiktas, who I've never heard of. Oh yeah, they're a newcomer. So they must have got promoted last year, and they needed 5 sets to beat him. So anything can happen.
For reference, Rob, Besiktas is new to volleyball, but one of the most legendary sport clubs in Istanbul. They're one of the biggest soccer clubs in Turkey for sure. So that's a known name.
Okay, well, no wonder I haven't heard of them if they're famous for that stupid sport soccer.
Yeah, just the biggest sport in the world.
Yeah, by far the worst. But anyway, back to volleyball. Good for Vakifbank. This match was close. I mean, no set was won by more than 3 points. So yeah, that's the way it should be. So it was tight, but I mean, as the saga goes on this season between Vakifbank and Fenerbahce, and then you'll obviously throw Eczacıbaşı in the mix as well. The personnel is going to change. The level of play is going to change, but it is Vakifbank that draws first blood. So they're the one with a chance right now to win all 5 trophies like they did a couple years ago.
Also, Rob, I'm not giving a shout out to whoever made these stat pages for the Turkish league because I can't see Jordan Thompson's full match stats. I can only see them set by set.
That's user error because I can see him just fine. Just saying.
No, like they're just not loading up.
Well,
I'm scrolling down. But anyways, that's why I didn't see it. I was like, that's why I was like looking at this stat sheet and I was like, these numbers just don't make sense. But if you said, let me refresh it here.
If you also checked our show notes, I put Tom.
Yeah, I know
in there as well.
I know. I was looking at those too, but I was so confused when I was looking at the stat sheet. But okay, no, it's still not. Anyway.
So all right, well, whatever. Good for Vakifbank. I don't really have any more takes on this because it's so early. Especially
with Fenerbahce, they're without Anna Cristina, and everyone knows Fenerbahce's season doesn't start until February when Vargas gets there anyways. It is whatever. It's very interesting to see these teams come together though.
Yep, I'm excited to see them play each other again. I mean, they're unfortunately a lot of the Sultanlar Ligi, because like we talk about most years, as we can jump into the results from Sultanlar Ligi week 1, there's a lot of good teams beating up on bad teams in the Sultanlar Ligi. The bottom of the Sultanlar Ligi is pretty rough, and that unfortunately sometimes creates a whole lot of 3-dongs in the regular season. However, when the good teams play each other, it gets pretty electric. So week 1, or I guess match day 1 was at some point last week. Match day 2 is underway literally right now. But as for match day 1, the only result that I thought was interesting was Eczacıbaşı beating THY 3-0. That was
a big one.
Yeah, big one. THY and Galatasaray the last couple of years have been battling for that 4 versus 5 and that last spot in the playoffs, because only 4 teams make the playoffs in the Sultanlar Ligi. But Eczacıbaşı did 3-dong them pretty convincingly. It was the battle of Alexa Gray versus Kira Van Rijk for you Canadian fans. Of course, Tijana Boskovic was excellent, 19 points, 17 for 32. Very high efficiency. Alexa Gray, 11 for 37 is okay, not bad. But Kira Van Rijk for THY, 13 for 37 with 8 errors, much, much worse, and absolutely no support. These outside hitter numbers, THY's outside hitter numbers for Julia Bergman and Antti Vasilantonaki, who I assume is Greek, just by the name. terrible. Both of them negative efficiency. So you're not going to
Yeah,
get a lot of matches that way.
1 for 13 by Julia Bergman, and hey,
Rough.
she's next one up for Brazil right now. I know she had a really good career at Georgia State, but man, not a good look there for THY. THY, in my opinion, is kind of in that fourth team, fourth place team in Turkey the past couple of years. But I mean, hey, I'm pretty sure they had Carlini on the team this year. They're definitely missing someone to dish the butter. If this is the numbers that are putting things up. But also, Rob, when we look at these scores in front of us, Nilüfer getting that 3-2 win over Galatasaray is another big. That's going to be, like, to me, it's really the top 6 in Turkey.
I agree.
Nilüfer kind of likes to straddle that line. I know that they're a smaller club, smaller budget. They do have Heinen leaving their team, I believe. He was there last year. I'm pretty sure he's
he was there last year. I'm actually not sure what our boy Vital is up to this year. I'm not sure if he's still there or not. But yeah, it's been pretty clear. You've got the top 3.
Yeah.
Then you've got THY and Galatasaray for 4 and 5, and Nilüfer's been at 6 for a little while now. So
that's why Nilüfer starting off the season here with a big 3-2 win over Galatasaray. Doesn't shake things up, but just makes it interesting early.
Yeah, makes it interesting early. Yeah, people are talking about the THY versus the Eczacıbaşı game. Yeah, THY's outside hitters were really, really bad. Really bad. We didn't even see Jovana Stevanovic for Eczacıbaşı. I'm a little surprised by that. I wonder if that's a foreigner limit thing. Yeah, I guess it is, because Eczacıbaşı's got 3 foreigners at the wings, and so they're going to have to play 2 Turkish middles. 3 foreigners maximum in the Sultanlar Ligi. So a lot of teams are going to have to play with that, including Vakifbank. Vakifbank's been doing kind of what they have the last few years, and Çaka Bogu is on the team only for Champions League. She's like never going to play it domestically because of the foreigner. Good. Honestly, yeah, good for her.
That sounds amazing. I remember a few years ago there was a few Canadian guys who would go over to Arcus and do that for Glenn Hogue, and they were like, honestly, it's kind of nice. Like, I get to rest my body. I only play once a week. All of these other guys are playing all the time. Like, Abogu is not a spry young chicken anymore. You need to save her up, especially in the year heading into the Olympics. Best case scenario for Team USA.
I think she's a little banged up too, because she didn't even dress for that Vakifbank game, or sorry, for that Fenerbahce game in the Super Cup, but she didn't need to, because she's probably only going to play Champions League. I'm expecting that on the men's side, by the way, Halkbank Ankara is probably going to do the same thing, because they've got Micah Ma'a, Namir, Irvin Ingapet, and Gord Perrin. And so Ingapet and Gord,
that's a team.
That is a team.
If there was one team I'd ever want to go hang out with, it's Halkbank Ankara this year.
For real.
That's a group of homies. You know.
So yeah, Irvin and Perrin are probably gonna switch off starting games, and then the other one will take a break. Berkay said that Çaka Bogu played today, so that's good to hear. No, Berkay, I'm not familiar with this Markova person that you're talking about.
No, me neither.
Tell us.
Who's she playing for?
Please inform us. Hit
us up.
It's early in the season. I'm not going to claim to have jumped back into my full slate of watching all these games yet. It'll take me a week or so to get there. But volleyball is being played. Here are the standings after week 1. Week 2 in the Sultanlar Ligi is being played right in Meow. THY is playing some team named Kuzeyboru, who I'm not familiar with.
Kuzeyboru, I know there's a few Canadians who have gone and played for them. They've always been solid, like mid-level team.
Okay.
I feel like them and PTT have always been solid mid-level, but anything past that, I really don't know.
Okay. All right, great. So I think that's kind of about it for the Sultanlar Ligi. Everett, anything else?
No, that's it. I definitely want to make a bigger effort to watch the Sultanlar Ligi this year, especially when their main teams are going to be are playing each other.
Oh, for sure. I mean, those are basically must-see games. And speaking of which, starting in about 15 minutes, it's Eczacıbaşı versus Fenerbahce. So hopefully we can crank through this show, get out of here, and turn that one on once we're done. So that is a banger in week 2 for sure.
Does anyone find us a link for that? I know that a lot of the times Sultanlar Ligi matches are just straight up streamed on YouTube. Can anyone find that for us, please? Yeah. Marina Markova, is that who we're talking about here, Berkay? She just finished at Syracuse and Florida. Just finished up at Florida. She's in her first year here for Murat Pasa.
Russian kid that played in the NCAA. I'm a little surprised.
That is very surprising.
Yeah,
Very, very surprising.
Of all the countries to try and get out of there and use the NCAA as a training ground, I was not expecting to see a Russian player do that.
Interesting, Rob, to see how, like, throughout Turkey, there's a lot of Russians. We see that Russian team.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that Russian team in France last year, basically. Why are we seeing that as much on the men's side or at all? Like, how many Russian players are you seeing playing outside of Russia at the moment?
Zero.
I can't think of
Soposhkov in Italy is the only one.
He's the one. Whereas, like, literally, like, you go over to Fenerbahce's roster, they have two. They have Federer Seva, and they have who's the other one here?
Voronkova.
Yeah. Well, no, Voronkova's over there too, but there's another one on Fenerbahce's roster. Irina Fedosova.
Oh,
they have Irina Fedoretseva and Irina Fedosova on Fenerbahce.
That's not confusing at all.
No, I looked at it and I was like, huh?
Sounds like we will be able to watch these Turkish League games on YouTube, because I've definitely had some success watching their playoffs on YouTube last year live, and they weren't geo-blocked, so that's great. That's another thing that the Volleyball Source Discord is very good for. During club season, we will help you find places to watch games. So if you're not already in the Discord, join that thing. The link is in the description. You want to talk about some Lega Volley Femminile?
Yeah, let's jump into the other best league in the world.
Let's do it. So the other best league in the world on the women's side is in Italy. They are 2 match days in the books. They really got into it fast. It's pretty crazy.
No wait on that, eh?
None. Results for week 1. Not a ton of surprises. The top teams that we kind of expect, like Conegliano and Malonza. By the way, I think it's important to tell the people for a new club season why we call them Malonza. Verovoli Milano on the women's side is the sister club of Verovoli Monza on the men's side. And the reason why one's called Milano, one's called Monza is because there's already a Milano on the men's side, because Monza is like the first suburb outside of Milano. And to make it even more confusing, Verovoli picked up the Allianz substitution, the sponsorship this year, which has been like Power Volley Milano, like the men's club sponsor forever. And now it's even more confusing. So we've got Allianz Vero Volley Milano on the women's side and Allianz Power Volley Milano on the men's side, which is not the same club as Vero Volley Monza. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why we're doing this. Make up your mind on what your team is going to be called. That's why we call the Vero Volley club Milonza. We combine Milano and Monza.
Well, we only really call Milonza for the women.
Right, because they're called Monza on the men because there's already a Milano on the men's side. It's so confusing.
It is extremely confusing.
So we're gonna call them Malonza on the women's side. And however, it is worth pointing out that Malonza on the women's side, this might be the year that somebody beats Conegliano in the Lega Volley Femminile, because this team's unbelievable. And
this might be the year for Monza. And we've seen them do this the past few years where they just stack and stack and stack and stack. But they really went in on this one. They just went to Turkey and took all of their goods.
Yeah, they took a good amount of Vakifbank's Champions League winning team from last year. They took Paola Egonu. She's back in Italy. She's playing with Alessia Oro and not counting against the foreigner limit, which is enormous. They took Karabayama, who's one of several pretty good outside hitter options they've got. And then they got Brenda Castillo at libero, which is amazing. So this team's absolutely loaded. Fortunately for them, they don't even have to start Miriam Silla like they have the last year or so, which is great. So Malonza is very good. They've started the season undefeated to the surprise of nobody at all. Same with Conegliano. They look great so far. For week 1, let's see. I mean, some of the middle tier teams doing some decent battles, like Bergamo beat Castelmaggiore in 5. Cuneo beat Pinerolo in 5, sort of in that bottom group. Roma, welcome back Roma to the Lega Volley Femminile. They played
things with a win too.
Yeah, they played 2 years ago, then got relegated, got promoted back, and they start off with a win. Good for them. Scandicci beat Firenze. Scandicci's very good, no surprise there. And then Novara beat Chieri. So that's it for week 1. Then week 2, we saw another win for Conegliano, another win for Malonza. Novara beat Castelmaggiore. Valafolia beat Bergamo, which is a good rebound.
That's a little surprising based off those 2 teams from last year.
Definitely. definitely. Volleyfolio last year was not good at all. They were very close to relegation. Chieri beat Roma, Scandicci beat Busto Arsizio, and Pinerolo beat Firenze. A pretty good start for Pinerolo. They somehow survived getting relegated last year, and they've
just barely
picked up a point or two. So good for them. Yeah, we're seeing people agree with our take that Malonza needs to figure out what their team identity is, but for better or for worse, they're going to be extremely good. This is now we're going to do a full video previewing the Lega Volley Femminile, even though the season's already started. But there's basically 3 teams this year: Conegliano, Milano or Malonza, and Scandicci, and all 3 are really good. All 3 have got legit chances to win the league. I like Malonza personally. I think Scandicci once again has given themselves issues with the foreigner limit, which we talked about last year, and they didn't really fix any of those problems. They've got a foreign setter, 2 foreign middles. I don't really understand what's going on there. But Milano is built to have a whole lot of success, and Conegliano is as well if they can get consistency out of their outside hitters. Right now it's looking like they're going to roll with 2 Americans out of 3 American options in Kelsey Robinson, Catherine Plummer, and Kalia Lanier.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be. I'm interested to see if Novara can keep up with those top 3. That's one of my big questions.
Without Abrar Karakurt.
Without Abrar Karakurt. And I mean, you did make some good moves in the off seasons. I'm also interested in these like old men's, like typically men's coaches coming in and coaching on the women's side. Our good friend and head stooge Bernardi is going to be joining Novara this year. Busto Arsizio has Julio Velasco, which is an absolutely great move as well. So there's so much movement, especially when I look at at this transfer sheet here, Rob, that Tommy Blizzard has so wonderfully made for us. The transfers in and out for pretty much every team are ginormous.
It's ridiculous.
It's like everyone was playing musical chairs. One of the only few teams that didn't is Conegliano, and this is why Conegliano to me is still such a dangerous team and still possibly one of the best teams in the world, because we've seen that continuity on the men's side really pay off for teams like Zaxa. This is what's happening, right? And Trentino, absolutely. This is what's happening now with the women's side, and not to mention there's no doubt about it, the best coach in the world right now, and Daniele Santarelli leading that squad, right?
100%.
So yeah, I'm very interested to see. You're bringing in Kayla Lanier into that rotation alongside Plummer and Robinson. Based off what we saw this summer on the women's national team for the USA, I don't know if there's that much of a gap between those teams. But I think that those players, but I also think the experience factor for both Plummer and Robinson will helps more in the club game, where you're maybe more on an island than in the international game.
I think that's fair. I think they've got a nice little 3-headed monster in 3 different play style players too, because Robinson obviously is not a scorer. No. Plummer is exclusively a scorer, and Lanier is sort of in the middle, a little more towards the Plummer scoring side versus the ball control side, but she can do it all. Like, she was by far Bergamo's best player the last 2 years. So I do like Conegliano. I think that continuity is huge. I did put the link to Tommy Blizzard's transfer spreadsheet for the women in the chat just now, so give that a look. And Everett, you're absolutely right. The shortness of Conegliano's transfer list compared to every other team in the league is like jarring to look at. It's crazy.
But this is where you're getting that continuity, and why the good clubs don't panic. Like,
That's
good
right.
clubs plan. Good clubs take care of the people that fit within their system, and it's clear to me time and time again why Conegliano is so good. Like, everyone else is just trying to keep up with Conegliano, in my opinion, especially in the Lega Volley Femminile.
Well, certainly they've completely dominated the league the last couple of years with a little bit of turnover, but they've been the most consistent franchise in women's volleyball. Really, like in any country. Yeah. And the success definitely shows that you still got the best setter in the world in Joanna Volos, and you've got Isabel Haak, and the best coach in the world, like you said. So if you're like Everett and I, and you appreciate the continuity of club volleyball teams year over year, you should be rooting for Conegliano's success. And you're not going to have to root that hard because they're really good and they're going to be just fine. But a good point in the chat, it's going to be interesting to see Conegliano against a good serving team. And if you flash back to last club season, we saw basically this exact same group of 7 for Conegliano against a great serving team in Fenerbahce in the Champions League and got absolutely boat raced, like completely blown out of the building, and were never even competitive in that. I think it was the quarterfinal series in Champions League. Yeah. So they never even had a chance against Fenerbahce serving last year, and that will definitely be a weakness for them.
I mean, we can also look back to the that final match of last year's Lake Volley Female League Finals, when it looked like it was Monza against them in the finals.
Yeah, it was Monza. Basically, Jordan Thompson trying to single-handedly will her team to a championship.
So that's the thing, is in that scenario, can the Khalil Lanier play the Alexa Gray role, right? Because
very similar.
They don't win that championship last year without Alexa Gray. So it's gonna be interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm excited for us to chat with Tommy Blizzard to break down some of these rosters too.
Yep. Talk about Malonza really quickly. I really like this team. Since they've been throwing a ton of resources at the women's team the last couple of years, this is by far the most complete team on paper that I've seen. And I mean, obviously you get Paula Egonu. That helps massively because she's one of the best players in the world, but also because she's Italian. And so now you have that setter, that opposite, and one of the middles that are Italian, and that you can have so much freedom with the other positions to use your foreigners, namely Brenda Castillo, who I absolutely love. I think she's pretty clearly the best libero in the world at this point. And Dana Retke is probably going to play a lot in the middle this year for them, which is cool. And they can play 2 foreigners outside, because they've got Karabayama, they've got Helena Cazot from France, they've got Nika Dalder out from the Netherlands, and they've got Miriam Silla, the Italian, if they need her. So that's a lot of good options. The thing about Malonza the last couple of years is that they've been way too inconsistent with who plays. Their starting lineup has changed too much. They've gone to the bench way too much in the middle of matches. I'm curious to see, especially at outside, if 2 of those 4 players can lock down starting spots for kind of the entire season.
Yeah, I'm also very interested to see this Malual, the backup opposite. Because with Egonu, Egonu takes so many swings all the time. And with Malonza's going to be playing deep in every tournament. Like, they're going to be doing Champions League. They're going to be doing Italian Cup. That's going to be so much volume. Is she going to be able to step in? Is Malual going to be able to step in and be an option for them and kind of plug those holes when need be? Because and especially I don't throughout the years of watching Paula Egonu, especially in a 5-setter, you're going to see her slump at some point. She often needs to get subbed off at some point, calm things down before she goes beast mode to push towards the 5th set. So is someone going to be able to step up there and do that? I don't know enough about Malual, so maybe Tommy Blizzard or someone else in the chat.
Yeah. I've seen Malual play. I've seen her.
She got something Maggiore last year.
Yep, and she was their leading scorer. She and Sylvian Wakalor are kind of similar players. They're real physical, they bang balls. They don't have the contact height or the range that an Egonu has. They're also not nearly as consistent, but they're just as physical, and in off the bench in a 6-2 or in for Egonu for half a set to give her a break, is going to be a good role for somebody like Malual. And
okay, cool.
Honestly, if you have to put her in, you're probably going to lose that set anyway. So at that point, if you're kind of rolling the dice on if she's going to be good or if she's going to be hitting balls out of bounds a lot, it's probably not going to matter that much. So I honestly kind of like that role for her for Malonza. Yeah, and they've got 2 great liberos as well. They've got Parochiale, who's coming off the bench, who's been their starter for the last couple of years. So they've really got a lot of options. However, just the way that they're built, in my opinion, they're more likely to be a little more consistent than the last couple of years.
That's fair. I think it's good that they have Parochiale, because you can't, you're going to need that foreigner spot at some point.
Maybe.
And, maybe.
The only place they might need it is at middle.
So that was kind of one of my next questions, Rob, is this the year that Dana Retke separates herself and starts fully starting on this team? because
I
the
hope
past
so.
couple the past couple years has been difficult. Last year with Stefanovic and of course Rafael Foley in front of you. That's a difficult kind of rotation to break into. We saw her have a huge impact from this team when she was fresh out of the NCAA, but as soon as people started getting film on her, they started shut her down. This summer with Team USA, I felt like Dana Retke took a massive step forward and was starting to be within the fold and really starting to have an impact on that team. Is now the year? Is this the year that we're going to see Dana Retke take a step into that position? Because like when I look at like someone like Laura Hireman, the other Belgian like middle blocker that they have, it to me it seems like it has to be Foley and Retke.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, I think Retke may even be the second American middle at this point. I think she might have overtaken Haley Washington this summer.
I think so too.
And if her blocking game, if her speed side to side can be up to the level of the Lega Volley Femminile, I think this is her spot to lose. And another good point in the chat: the Italian league is not one of those leagues where you can just bench your starters against the bad teams like in the Sultanar League. Yeah. You can't do that. So you've got to have a good amount of roster consistency. I think this is Retke's year. I'm expecting some good things out of her. Hopefully that she can continue to be that second best American middle blocker behind Shaka Obogu. I think they've got good shot to do that. Let's talk about Scandicci a little bit. They've got huge foreigner limit problems. They brought in Britt Herbots, who since a couple seasons ago for Novara just hasn't really had that club success that we would expect of a scorer of her caliber on the outside. And unfortunately, it's going to be her and Zhu Ting fighting for court time because of the foreigner problems. They've got a foreign setter in Maya Njanovic. They've got two foreign middles in Haley Washington and Carl from Brazil, who's amazing. Mm-hmm. They do have Antropova on the right side, who's Italian. But they've got an Italian libero, this Merlot girl, who I know nothing about. And they've got Francesca Villani, would be their third outside hitter, if not for the foreigner limit, so she's going to have to play a lot. So I don't know what they're going to do at outside hitter. They've got that problem again for the second year in a row. But top-level talent, and when they go into Champions League, they're going to be very good.
Mm-hmm. They will be. And I mean, you still have a lot of your, like a libero, they'll have an Italian. The opposite, they'll have an Italian for sure. I'm guessing Lyndon Walklor is also being brought in to cement the middle. Like you'll have, like maybe she rotate, like she's in, and then you have Washington and Anna Carolina kind of rotating around her as well. So I think there's some options there. But you're not wrong. Like once you get into Champions League, that this team is going to really look good. Really look good. Do I think that they have a chance to compete with the Coneglianos, the Fenerbahces, and the Vakifbanks? I'm not entirely sure yet. To me, it all looks like how does Antropova look? How does Maya look all together? Like there's a lot of new pieces coming together on this team, and I'm just interested to see how it kind of all works out.
Yeah, it could be a wide range of possibilities. They could be super good. I think they have a very high ceiling, but also a very low floor as far as elite teams go. I'm curious to see what they do. And people were about Novara earlier. We're talking about how good Vida Akimova has been so far. So she is Russian. She came over from Valero Lecanet, who is that French team last year, who had just all the Russians. Like basically their whole starting lineup in Champions League was Russian. They made it decently far. And it turns out Akimova has been pretty good so far through 2 matches for Novara, trying to replace Ebrar Karakurt in that scoring output. Novara is amazing in the middle, like they always are, with Denesi and Kirikella. And I mean, they brought over Hannah Orthman, but she's hurt. She can't play yet. So they actually might be really good if she gets healthy and if Akimova continues to be good. So they're definitely still 4th in terms of on-paper talent, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we'll break this down a little bit more with Tommy Blizzard later on. We'll dive into some of this. I think it's going to be really interesting. I thought the race last year in the Lega Volley Femminile was so good, and just looking at these rosters, I think it's a bit of a toss up between Milano and Conegliano. I think Scandicci is a slight step behind both of those rosters, just on paper. We'll have to see how the chemistry and everything works.
Yep. A lot of Americans, as usual, playing in the Lega Volley Femminile. So if you're American, there's plenty to watch only a couple. Are there any Canadians? Because
Bro,
Kira and Alexa are both from
are
Turkey. Eh?
are both.
Isn't Lane Van Buskirk on Busto Orsitio? Is she the only
Yeah,
one?
yeah. Van Buskirk went to Busto. I'm pretty sure. Oh,
Yeah,
never
she might be
mind.
the only one. Is she not there?
Well, it hasn't been updated on her volley box.
I remember seeing that signing earlier in the summer, but
So did I. But sorry, I was going to go on to Instagram and look there. Boost.
dude, there might be 0 Canadians in the Lega Volley Femminile. That's pretty wild. There's so many Americans, which is awesome. Because funny enough, there's at least last year there were basically 0 Americans in the Superlega on the men's side. Now this year we've got a couple.
Yeah, nothing. No Lane Van Buskirk on Busto. So that is that's too bad. She according to Volleybox right now, she currently does not have a team. So yeah, no Canadians on Busto. Oh, Maglio. Now where's Emily Maglio?
She's been in Turkey the last couple of years, right? I didn't see her when scanning through Tommy's spreadsheet. I didn't see Emily Maglio anywhere.
No, she's not anywhere there. It looks like Van Buskirk didn't pass the medical when she got to Busto. So that's too bad. And then Emily Maglio, who just finished as the top blocker in the Olympic qualifying tournament, had the most blocks in the tournament with 26. Not on contract either, it looks like.
Weird. Well, Everett, you need to put your Canadian journalism hat on and go dig and figure out what's going on there.
Oh, don't worry, I got some insiders. Maybe, I might even have answers for us for at the end of the show. Let's see.
Ooh. Well, honestly, I think this show is going to be pretty quick. There's not a whole lot more to talk about because we also want to go watch that Scandicci, or sorry, not Scandicci, that Eczacıbaşı versus Fenerbahce game. But we do have a couple more things we have to talk about. The first is that volleyball.store. Everett, let the people know how they can look good like us. We've both got the beautiful 9x9 squared.
We got the double 9x9 squared. You head over to that volleyball.store. Use the code SPICY. You get 15% off. Do it now. Do it often. We'll be laying down a bit of a sale for Black Friday. So if you want to get anything for Christmas, anything like that, that'll be a good time. Go it over, check it out. Use the code SPICY, 15% off. Love it.
That'll be coming up. I already plugged the Volleyball Source Discord, but want to do that again. Make sure you join that community. It's very, very good resource for club. Because for national team season, everything's basically all in one place. It's relatively easy to follow along, and you know where to watch everything. It's typically Volleyball World TV, but in the club season, it's all over the place. And fortunately, we have people from really every country in the world who know a lot about their domestic leagues and can help you follow along with them and can answer questions. And a lot of time are breaking news way before we hear it anywhere else on the internet. So the Volleyball Source Discord is a crucial resource for club season. Join it. The link's in the description.
And if you're also one of those people, like we want you to come. Like if you're someone who is in the top 1% of volleyball people in your country, in your area, and you just know a lot, you have a lot of information to share, come. Be Burkai, who's been in this chat quite a bit today, is someone who's a perfect example of that. He's not necessarily one of the OGs, but he's added so much value in helping us understand the Turkish league and the situation in Turkey and how everything works there. And it's such we have the volleyball world is so eclectic and there's so many different things all over the place. So we want you to come in and share a little bit of yourself and your people and your culture and a little bit how you guys do volleyball from anywhere, really.
Yeah, and it'll help us follow along with things too, because when there's major things happening, we want to make sure that we talk about it on the show and we don't miss it. And there's now so much volleyball going on around the world that we can't watch all of it. We might miss some stuff. So when there's important things happening, Everett and I want to know about it just as much as the regular volleyball fans. So join the Discord. It's a great place. And like the video, like Langdon said in the chat, give us a thumbs up. We've got over 100 people watching, only 30 likes. Not acceptable. Be better. Thumbs up this video. Time for our favorite segment, Everett. It's time for Where's Daddy. I really love the club season, and the reason why is because we get to see Daddy Stankovic play, because He's rode off into the sunset for the Serbian national team. Now he plays for Modena in Italy, where he counts as an Italian. So we get to watch him. We get to see Daddy Stankovic grace our screens, which is awesome. You also get to see Daddy Stankovic here on this show because in every episode, Daddy Stankovic is hidden somewhere on the 9x9. And if you find him, and comment where he is in the main YouTube comments after the stream is over, you get a shout out the following week. So last week we were talking about Olympic qualifiers. You see their team, Japan. You see one of their coaches there on the middle left portion of the screen next to head coach Philippe Blaine. There's Daddy Stankovic celebrating Japan's qualification to the Olympics. So there were a bunch of people who found him. Langdon found him. Yana found him. Vivian. Stephen JW found him. John Lau found him. Koi Bui found him. So many people. This was a relatively easy one. So good job. You found Daddy Stankovic. He is hidden somewhere in this show. Maybe he's already shown up, maybe not. But if you find where he is, comment the timestamp. Ooh, somebody says, Rob, you deserve huge congrats for where you hit him today. It was genius. So maybe Daddy's already shown up, and that person was impressed by my Photoshop skills. So if you find Daddy Stankovic, comment where he is, and timestamp on the main comments, not the live chat, but the main comments.
I feel like of the people who watch live, I'm one of the last people to realize where Daddy Stankovic is.
We've got other stuff going on.
We've got you. I've said this before, but Rob does not tell me before the show. He shows me after the show, usually as I'm running to go to the bathroom. So yeah, I never see, and I also don't usually watch this, I'm not watching the same stream you guys. I'm like looking at stats and looking at other things, looking at the YouTube chat. So I don't really get to see him. So I'm excited. Rob, you'll have to send it to me once we're done.
I will. Yeah, I like to sometimes. Well, I'm not going to give any hints away, but I always have a very good time using my questionable Photoshop skills to move Daddy Stankovic.
They have gotten better.
Thank you. The one from a couple weeks ago where I hit him inside the eyes of that Japanese mascot. I was proud of that one. All right, so that's about it for club matches that have already happened this week. I mean, I guess we had the French men's league, the French men's Super Cup. Tours beat Chaumont in 4. Good for them. The LNV starts this weekend. I also think that the LNV might have changed names. I think they picked up a sponsor. So good for them. They did
pick up a sponsor. I forget what it's called though. It's still the LNV, but it's just officially it'll have it's the Marmara Spike League.
Thank you. That's it.
A lot of saying Marmara Spike League.
Well, whatever. They got a sponsor. More money in volleyball. That's good. That's good for everyone. So
I like that.
Next week's 9x9 we'll have even more to catch up with. There are some of the men's leagues that start this weekend, including both Italy and Poland. We will be doing previews for both the Superliga and the Plusliga. Our Plusliga preview will be tomorrow with our good friend Adanos from the Discord. Me and him will be going over, very similar to how we did last year. We'll be going over.
I'm coming on too.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't have to work, so I mean, at the end of the day, I want to be able to just be a part of the conversation and learn more about the Plusliga. It's the best way to get into it.
Adanos did a super good job for us last year, so we'll be going over everything tomorrow and about the Plusliga, and then we'll be going over everything about the men's Italian Superliga on Thursday. So show a ton of content on the channel this week. We're previewing all the men's leagues before both the Plusliga and the Superliga kick off this weekend. So look forward to that the next couple of days. One more thing that we want you guys to look forward to, and that will get some of your input. We want your help in determining some of our end of season awards for the 2023 national team season. So what we've done, we put together 2 different Google polls. Both of them, the links are in the description of this video. I also put the links to both in the Volleyball Source Discord. One poll is for the national team season awards. The other poll is for the national team season all-star teams. So if you click into both of those polls, you can have your voice heard on who you thought were the best teams, the best players, the best at each position, the best in certain categories for the entire national team season. We're going to leave this open for about a week, and then on next week's 9x9, we will unveil the results. So there's a bunch of categories. At least for the all-star teams, we just want you to give who you think the best players were at every position. We'll have you put in 14 players, men's and women's, and then we'll put all that data together and name a first and second team all-stars for the summer. And then for the awards, we've got categories like Player of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Dark Horse Team of the Year, Best Match of the Year, and my favorite category, Stooge of the Year.
Stooge of the Year.
Stooge of the Year.
But so as you guys go through this, you're going to notice that there's some areas that there's a lot of entries. Let's say, because Rob and I we were chatting yesterday, we got some names. There's a lot of areas that like we know well, but there's going to be a lot of them that we're maybe looking for some input. So we're looking for you guys to be like, like put in an other and give us a player. So like for Newcomer of the Year, for example, like you guys may have had a newcomer in your country that we're not aware that they're a newcomer. It's kind of hard to follow all the different newcomers in there. Like we have Bovalenta in there by Italy. Like I don't even know if he started a match for the senior team in there, but we knew he was a newcomer, so we threw him in there. Or like Comeback Player of the Year, like things like that. I think that we're really looking for your guys' input. And if you have a different feeling on any of the categories, please, we implore you to please put something in.
Yep, put your own options in there. Every single one of these on the season awards poll, even if there are options listed, there is a chance for you to put in your own answers. So if you want to put in your own answer, please do. We really encourage that, because we just like threw out some of the most obvious ones, and I'm sure we missed people in the options. Like, Female Player of the Year. This one should be a pretty obvious category. I'm not gonna lead any of our poll takers, but if you have, that one should be pretty unanimous. But Men's Player of the Year, there are a ton of options in this category. Newcomers of the Year, Most Improved Players of the Year. Like there are so many options for some of these categories. So if the option you want isn't listed, please fill it in. And then for this one, for the season all-star teams, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to have you name like your top 2 setters, your top 2 opposites, your top 4 outside hitters, 4 middle blockers, and 2 liberos for both men's and women's. And then
Rob, you know what we should have done that we started for Norseca was the serving sub.
Serving sub of the year. There aren't that many good serving subs internationally.
No.
I think Norseca was kind of the perfect tournament for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, we definitely want your input. And so when we announce all of these awards, guys, we're going to do, I think we're going to announce our awards that like Rob and I decide upon, but then also announce the People's Choice Awards for each category.
Right. Then the last thing that we want to do is we're going to have some categories that are totally separate from these, like awards that are a little like goofier and more weird that just Everett and I are going to decide on, and that we'll announce last year, and hopefully like get some of the players involved. Like one category that Everett and I both want to see is the Dragan Stankovic Daddy of the Year award.
I just don't know how yet, like what defines daddy? Like is it an actual dad? Does it have to be a player who has a child, like at least one child?
I think it's just daddy energy.
Exactly. But what is daddy energy? How do we define that? So I think we still need to do a bit of soul searching on that one, Rob. But yeah, regardless, if you guys have any fun categories, let us know.
Put them in the comments. If you have any fun categories, I mean, we have Stooge of the Year here in the season awards that we want you to vote on. But any other like fun, goofy categories, put them in the comments here after the stream is over. We want to watch them, or we want to read them, and we'll see what we can come up with for next week, because we want your input, but we also want sort of like a Pardon My Take inspired like goofy awards that we might be able to do every season and come back to them and have a little bit of rolling history. So I think that would be really fun. We're going to keep these polls open at least through the weekend.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly when we'll close them, but we'll have it open at least through the weekend. And whenever we do next week's 9x9, either Monday or Tuesday, probably we'll close them before that, and we will put all the data together and unveil them on next week's show. But you've got several days to fill this out.
Yeah, for sure. Do it up. Be a part of the community.
Yep.
Help us out with anything. Give us answers. Give us questions. Give
Ooh,
us your thoughts.
social media king of the year from our friend Joel. That's a pretty good one.
Ooh.
Social media king or social media queen of the year. Shank
Ooh.
passer of the year.
Shank passer of the year.
Yeah, so these are categories that any ideas that you have for these goofy categories, put them in the main comments after the stream. We want all the options for this. I actually do really like social media king queen of the year.
Yeah.
This would be really good. Our boy Tobias Crick would be a leader in that category.
What about our other boy, Eric Shoji?
Eric Shoji would obviously be on that list as
Dude
well.
just hit 900,000 followers on TikTok. I think he's winning the social media
Woo!
game right now in the world of volleyball.
Good for him. I'm excited for his YouTube channel to get back a little more active now that he's back in Poland with Zaksa.
Yeah.
Also, it's become a tradition that we will be having Eric Shoji on the show to preview Champions League. So we'll certainly be doing that in the next month or so.
Net toucher of the year, Flavio.
Obviously. Social media king of the year, yeah, Joe Worsley from Out of System would have to be on that list.
This is where I wish we had like proper stats, so someone could go through and like stat like the weirdest things, you know.
That's what we have this community for. So any of these random categories, if you want to, not only if you have a category idea, but if you have metrics to help us evaluate that category, like let us know. Put it in the comments, put it in the Discord, tag us. Like that's the beauty of this community, is that we want all of your help in deciding some of these end of season awards, especially like really good, like funny ones that we can do year over year. So
worst serve of the year.
Ooh, worst serve of the year.
Oh, I already know exactly what it is, and the fact that you don't know exactly what I'm referencing right now, I'm a little disappointed, Rob Sinclair.
I mean, there's Crick's jumbo shrimp serve from last year.
No,
that was a really bad one
that we witnessed firsthand.
Oh, I know which one it is. It's the Suriname one, isn't it? Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That 100%. That's worst serve of the year. I mean, there's no
that may be one of the worst scenes I've seen. The worst serves I've seen.
I mean,
time.
there are some under the net serves, and there are some like back wall on a fly serves, but nothing will ever be worse than accidentally hitting the ball with your left hand on its way up. That
was. Who was it? What was his name again?
Kevin Sporkslade, their captain.
Kevin Sporkslade, the captain of. Yes. That one sucked because he was like the best player on that team, and it was just getting to that point where that was the set they won too.
It was on set point for the set that they won. That was rough.
And it sucked because like he had been carrying that team. You could tell he was exhausted by the end of that tournament.
Yeah, that was a bad moment. So yeah, we want all of your feedback on all these polls. We've got the 2 polls. The links are in the description. They're also in the Discord. And if you have any other ideas for fun, goofy categories, put them in the comments. We want all your feedback. We will put all this together and have some fun awards to go over on next week's show. Stay tuned for the Plusliga preview tomorrow on Wednesday, the Superliga preview on Thursday with Tommy Blizzard. I'm really looking forward to both of those. Those are going to be long videos, but they were really successful last year in helping people dive in and get familiar with the domestic league. So, and there's volleyball starting this weekend.
Volleyball's already started.
Well, yeah, but both Plusliga and Superliga start this weekend. So a lot of volleyball to watch. I think that's it. Short show. Let's all go over together. Join the Discord. We can all go watch it. Zajabacha versus Fenerbahce.
Love it. All right, peace, guys. We will see you tomorrow for Plusliga, Thursday for Superliga, and right back here next week for the 9x9. Go check out that volleyball.store. Go check out the Discord. Like this video, and just be a good human being. We'll see you next week.